Houthi delegations returns from Saudi capital Riyadh after holding positive 5-day talks. Saudi, Emirati and American meeting held in New York to discuss latest peace efforts in Yemen. Sporadic clashes erupt in Taz between government forces and the Houthi militia. Good evening. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. I am Abir Ali. Chairman of the Presidential Council, Rashad Al-Alimi, met in New York with the Emirati Foreign Minister on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly's meetings. Al-Alimi praised the distinguished relations between the two countries, the role of the UAE in alleviating the suffering of the Yemenis by providing humanitarian assistance. For his part, the UAE official hoped that Yemen can achieve people's aspirations in ending the Houthi coup. Ahmed bin Mubarak confirmed that food insecurity in Yemen is the result of the war waged by the terrorist Houthi militia. Bin Mubarak's statements came during a high-level meeting in New York on supporting resilience in the face of global food insecurity, where he added that the Houthis are using the siege of the cities as a weapon of war. He pointed out that with the continuation of Houthi attacks on oil facilities, the country has lost about $1 billion since the middle of last year. The Houthi group said its delegation returned to Sana'a after holding a round of positive negotiations with Saudi officials in Riyadh under Omani mediation. Despite tight media coverage of the talks, members of the Houthi delegations described it as a positive thing. The following report has more.
5 days of a new round of negotiations between the Saudi officials and a delegation of Iran-backed Houthi militia was held in Riyadh. Riyadh in turn praised what it described as the positive results of the negotiations with the rebels. The Saudi Foreign Ministry released a statement welcoming the positive results of serious discussions regarding reaching a roadmap to support peace in Yemen. The new round of talks was held with Omani mediation in order to reach a new truce, leading to a comprehensive ceasefire nationwide. Among the rebels' demands were the payment of the salaries of Houthi-appointed civil servants, the release of Houthi prisoners, and the launch of new routes from the airport in Houthi-controlled capital Sana'a. The Houthi delegation also met Saudi Arabia's defense minister, Prince Khalid bin Salman. Prince Khalid emphasized the kingdom's support for Yemen and reaffirmed commitment to promoting dialogue among all parties to reach a comprehensive political solution under United Nations supervision. A member of the Houthi Political Council said the talks were serious and positive, citing that there will be a renewed round of negotiations, but did not mention any concrete achievements that came out of the meeting. Riyadh's meeting raised hopes for peace in Yemen after the Iran-backed Houthi militia flew to Saudi Arabia for their first talks in the kingdom since the war began in 2014. The first round of Oman-mediated consultations between Riyadh and Houthi militia was held in April when Saudi envoys visited Sana'a. The war in Yemen has killed more than 150,000 people, including civilians, and created one of the world's worst humanitarian disasters.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Yemen has an unprecedented opportunity for peace. This came during a joint meeting in New York with his Saudi and Emirati counterparts. This report has more details.
UAE Minister of Foreign Affairs, Saudi Foreign Minister and U.S. Secretary of State discussed the situation in Yemen at a meeting on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly on Tuesday. The meeting came on the heels of Monday's GCC gathering, which began the week of high-level debates. Mr. Blinken said there was an opportunity to have some dedicated time together to delve a little bit deeper, even into the shared commitment to advance peace in Yemen. Yemen has factored heavily into Mr. Blinken's engagement this week as he met Yemeni Presidential Leadership Council President Rashad Al-Alimi. According to a summary of Tuesday's meeting, Released by the U.S. State Department, the three discussed shared regional priorities, which included their commitment to a durable resolution to the conflict in Yemen in close coordination with the Yemeni parties. Diplomatic sources said that the meeting reaffirmed the three countries' alignment on the way forward in Yemen. A UN-brokered ceasefire in April 2022 resulted in a reduction in fighting, which has more or less continued despite the ceasefire expiring in October 2022. Riyadh hosted the Houthi rebels for several days of talks that concluded on Tuesday. It was the first official visit by a Houthi delegation to the kingdom since 2014, after the Houthi group exiled the internationally recognized government in Sana'a. The meeting emphasized the kingdom's ongoing support for Yemen and its people, as well as its unwavering commitment to encourage Yemeni parties to engage in a dialogue to reach a comprehensive and lasting political solution under the supervision of the United Nations. The UAE, Saudi Arabia, and the U.S. agreed that cooperation among the three governments and Yemen Presidential Leadership Council is essential to advancing UN-led peace efforts.
Here in Yemen, a 9-year conflict has created one of the worst humanitarian and protection crises this world has ever seen. More than 21 million people, including 4.5 million internally displaced people, need humanitarian assistance. And nearly 71,000 refugees and asylum seekers are sheltering in this war-torn country that has seen its economy devastated and is experiencing climate shocks. As part of the humanitarian community and as the representative of UNHCR in Yemen, I'm proud that our teams and our partners are doing crucial work to aid those in the greatest need. And it's unfortunate, but the reality is that Yemen remains one of the most dangerous places to operate. And most recently, we have tragically lost a fellow humanitarian, all while serving humanity. Humanitarians should not be targets. They should be protected in doing life-saving work. We should not forget that most of our colleagues are nationals, whose lives are sometimes at even greater risk than international staff.
The Human Rights League called to support international efforts to stop Iranian weapons smuggling to the Houthi militia. The association stressed that this support will have a positive impact on improving the human rights situation in Yemen and will limit the Houthi militia's violations against civilians. Local sources said that the Houthi militia has gathered a number of school students to participate in the military parade. The sources reported that the militia gave the children money to convince them to attend sectarian courses inside its camps. A human rights organization condemned the Houthi militia's kidnapping of civilians in Ebgabarat. The organization said that detention came against the backdrop of people's refusal to wear green badges imposed by the militia celebrating sectarian events. Intermittent clashes erupted between government forces and the Houthi militia in Taiz Governorate. The Taiz Axis Middle Center stated that the government forces attacked Houthi militia sites in Wadi al-Sawm, located in Sabr Front, south of the city. The Ministry of Interior prevented an attempt to smuggle a shipment carrying half of a ton of narcotic in Hadramaut Governorate. The ministry said a shipment was carrying 447 kilograms of narcotic at Al-Wadi land port, which was on its way to Saudi Arabia. Coming up in the news. Free mobile clinic in Aden targets people with eye diseases. Welcome back. In Ma'rib province, salty impure water has spread across the city. This impure water has caused many people to suffer from kidney diseases. This comes amid absence of water purification standards and governmental neglect. This report has more.
Within this small place, high salinity drinking water is bottled as one of the main water sources that spread daily in the city, which many displaced people and residents resort to because it's cheap and available to everyone, unlike the prices of mineral water. This water is not subject to any quality standards. It's highly salinized and it threatens people's lives with kidney diseases, as they say.
This water causes many diseases for people who drink it. It's not healthy at all. We call on the local authorities to prevent the selling of this water in the market. We are forced to buy it as the healthy water costs 200 riyals. It's too expensive, but it's much better than this one.
Recently, the incidence of kidney diseases and kidney failure has increased among citizens who arrive at the authorities' general hospital in an uncontrolled manner. Reasonably, doctors attribute its causes to saltwater sources in the governorate that have accumulated for years.
Salt water is spread all over Ma'rib Governorate. The salinity level reaches 1,700. It's quite dangerous and it causes several diseases, especially in the kidneys, as it contains large amounts of salt. By time, patients develop stones in their urinary system and sometimes it leads to kidney failure.
There are no options for citizens to purchase pure and safe drinking water in a desert city with high temperatures. But resorting to this water has become a danger that lurks around them at a time when there is no supervisory role in forcing factory owners to adhere to the quality standards that is developed by water labs and treatment experts in order to provide suitable water that protects people who are at risk of contracting serious diseases.
Here in Ma'rib Governorate, we suffer a lot from many diseases as a result of consuming and drinking salt water. It's available everywhere in the governorate and its price is more affordable than the healthy one.
The poor, those with limited income, and the displaced are the groups most exposed to this phenomenon, as this water is their only option. There is no other way for them and their families to obtain clean water other than buying this water with high salinity.
In Aden, a free mobile clinic was held to treat eye diseases. Such mobile clinics have increased recently to help local residents with providing the needed medical treatment, especially those who cannot afford paying for medication. The following report has more details.
In the temporary capital Aden, a free camp for ophthalmology and surgery funded by the Bazaar Charitable Development Foundation and under the supervision of the local authority and the health office in Aden was inaugurated in the city. The camp aims to carry out 200 surgical operations. It also aims to examine and treat hundreds of cases of cataract and glaucoma diseases with specialized and expert medical teams in examining and performing operations. 60-year-old Haj Khalid found what he was looking for in Bazaar camp for free eye medicine and surgery after he had waited a long time to recover from his eye problem.
My situation is really difficult. We don't have money for surgery, but now this is a free camp. It helped us to get free treatment. So I want to thank everyone, including the doctors.
The deteriorating living conditions and the difficult circumstances of most citizens have made these free medical camps a destination for hundreds of patients.
There are many patients that came today for the cataract surgery.
So many patients came today, and this is because of the country's situation. These kind of camps help people amid the country's situation.
Yemenis struggle to have all their basic human rights. The completely destroyed health services in Yemen has led to the death of so many citizens in the country. In Yemen, 19.7 million people do not have access to basic health care. Only 51% of Yemen's health facilities are fully operational, and the majority of them lack specialists, equipment, and basic medicines. These gaps have an impact on services for the most vulnerable, particularly women and children.
The Ministry of Public Health and Population in Sabah announced the death of 4 people due to dengue fever disease. According to the ministry, 264 cases of the fever in Atak have been recorded during the period from August to September. The health authorities stressed the importance of integrating the roles of implement diseases preventing and awareness campaigns to prevent dengue fever. Heavy rains and floods caused damage to hundreds of homes for displaced people in the western coastal region of Yemen. The International Organization for Migration said heavy rains hit the western coast of Yemen last week, destroying the shelter of more than 900 displaced people. The organization added that immediately after the floods cleared, it distributed emergency relief materials to the affected families. Here is a reminder of the main headlines. Houthi delegations return from Saudi capital Riyadh after holding positive 5-day talks. Saudi, Emirati and American meeting held in New York to discuss latest peace efforts in Yemen. Sporadic clashes in ties between government forces and the Houthi militia. This is the end of the news. Thank you for watching. It was Abir Ali.